On this video, I want to ask another little riddle with regards to Rosh Hashanah. It relates to our calendar in general, and that is, on what days of the week can Rosh Hashanah possibly fall? Nowadays we have a fixed calendar, and it's quite complex, but I'm going to, on this short video, explain a few basic ideas and show how to use a certain table that exists in order to calculate, basically. Of course, everybody today can look at the calendar or look on the internet, but it's still interesting to know how this whole system functions, and you could look at the table at any time and see on what days what holidays can fall and what it all depends on. There's really only a couple of variables that determine our entire calendar for the year. So Rosh Hashanah can fall only on 4 days of the week, and notice that every biblical holiday today falls always on 4 specific days of the week. It's just different holidays fall on different 4 days, but none of them can fall on more than 4 days of the week. The only holiday that's not biblical that can fall on various days, that's Hanukkah. There's only 1 day of the week on which Hanukkah can start. But all the other holidays, they always have just specific 4 days on which they can fall. In the case of Rosh Hashanah, the only days on which it can fall are Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Shabbat. That's the only 4 days on which Rosh Hashanah can fall. And certainly the first day of Sukkot will also fall on those same days, because of course it's 2 weeks later. Right? Rosh Hashanah is on the 1st of Tishrei and Sukkot is on the 15th of Tishrei. So this way you could know when Yom Kippur will fall. That's always going to be 2 days after Rosh Hashanah, right? It's 10 days after, but it's if you discard the week, it's going to be 3 days later, which means if it would be exactly 8 days later in Rosh Hashanah, then it would fall on the same day of the week. So since it's 10 days later, it falls 2 days a week later. So for instance, if Rosh Hashanah is Monday, like this year, then Yom Kippur, of course, will be Wednesday. So therefore, Yom Kippur can fall Wednesday, Thursday. It can also fall on Shabbat, and it can fall on Monday. So the 4 days are Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Shabbat for Yom Kippur. In the case of Pesach, for instance, it can fall on Shabbat or Sunday, or Tuesday or Thursday. So how do we know all this? First of all, the calendar is structured in a way that 3 things cannot happen. Why is it that there is really 4 days for every holiday? Because there are 3 days on which the holidays can't fall, and that is, we can never have Yom Kippur right next to Shabbat. You could never have Yom Kippur on Friday or Sunday. That's 2 conditions. And the third condition, surprisingly enough, is Hoshana Rabbah. You'd think, whoever heard of Hoshana Rabbah, why should Hoshana Rabbah influence our entire calendar? Well, it was important enough for our sages to make sure that Hoshana Rabbah never falls on Shabbat. Hoshana Rabbah, of course, is the last day of Sukkot. The Shmini Atzeret, what we call the next day, is not really Sukkot anymore. It's a separate holiday. Right? According to the Torah, you don't have to sit in Sukkah on Shmini Atzeret. Chutz la'aretz, outside of the land of Israel, we sit in Sukkah for 1 more day without a brocha, and that's a separate story. Why? Because of second day of Hoshana Rabbah, in a sense, right? Every day outside of the land of Israel is celebrated for 2 days. But at any rate, Shmini Atzeret is a separate holiday. The last day of Sukkot, the 7th day of Sukkot, is called Hoshana Rabbah, the big Hoshana, when we, of course, go 7 times around the bima with our 4 minim, right? Lulav, Etrog, Hadassim, and Aravot. So Hoshana Rabbah cannot ever fall on Shabbat. Why is that? Because the minhag that we have to take Aravot, to take the willow branches and to do the procedure with them that we do on Hoshana Rabbah, we have to be able to do it. And on Shabbat, they would never allow us to do it because people might be carrying it outside, just like they didn't allow us to pick up lulav on Shabbat. So it was important enough for the sages that this minhag will be kept every year. The minhag of Hoshana Rabbah, the habatat of Hashanat, of willow branches, that it would never fall on Shabbat. So those 3 conditions, that Yom Kippur will not fall on Friday and Sunday, and the Hoshana Rabbah will not fall on Shabbat, those conditions already force Rosh Hashanah not to fall on those other 3 days on which it can never fall, meaning Sunday and Wednesday and Friday. That's the 3 days on which Rosh Hashanah doesn't fall, because each of these days, if Rosh Hashanah falls on them, either Yom Kippur will fall next to Shabbat or Hoshana Rabbah will fall on Shabbat. So what are the conditions to know on a particular year what holidays fall on what, and what kinds of years do we have? It turns out there's only 3 main variables, actually, based on this table. There are only 3 main variables from which we could know what kind of year we're dealing with. There's 2 columns here, regular year and a year which has 2 others. We could call it leap year, right? The year of 13 months. And 2 conditions are, first, the day on which Rosh Hashanah falls. It could be Bet, as we said, or it could be Gimel, that's Tuesday, and it could be Hey, which is Thursday, and it could be Zayin, which is Shabbat. And the other condition is, which kind of year is it? There's only 3 kinds of years we have in terms of how long are the months of Mar Cheshvan and the next month Kislev. All the months of our year are always fixed length. For instance, Nisan is always 30 days. Iyar is always 29 days. And they usually alternate, because the period of the moon is approximately 29 and a half days, so approximately half of the months are 30 days, half the months are 29 days. There are only 2 months in the winter where it could happen that the month is 29 days or 30 days. What are those 2 months? Mar Cheshvan and Kislev. So if Mar Cheshvan is 30 days, we have 2 days of Rosh Chodesh of Kislev. If Kislev is 30 days, we have 2 days of Rosh Chodesh of Tevet. So in the 3 types of years that exist are when both of these months are 30 days. We have 2 Rosh Chodeshim of Kislev and 2 Rosh Chodeshim of Tevet. And that year is called Shalem, full year. The other possibility is that the year is Kisidran. That means every other month is 30 days, every other month is 29 days. Keseder, like the normal order, alternating Seder. And so that's the year when the month of Kislev will be 30 days, but the month of Mar Cheshvan will be 29 days. And at last, if both of these months, Mar Cheshvan and Kislev, are 29-day months, then the year is called Chaser, a short year, lacking, literally, year. So what we have, therefore, is 2 conditions. Once we know if the year is Pshuta or Miuberet, if it's 2 Adars or 1 Adar, after that there is only 2 other conditions we have to know. What day Rosh Hashanah falls on, and whether it's a year that's Chaser, Shalem, or Kisidran. So that's the 2 letters here in the tables. That's the first letter is the day of Rosh Hashanah, and the second year is which kind of year. The second letter is which kind of year it is. So there's only, for instance, for Shana Pshuta, for a regular year which has 1 Adar, there's only 7 different possibilities. Not every letter fits with every other letter. So for instance, it could be Bet Het, meaning Rosh Hashanah falls on Monday and the year is Chaser, or it could be Beit Shin, Rosh Hashanah falls still on Monday, but the year is Shalem, both months are 30 days. Or it could be Gimel Chaf, meaning Rosh Hashanah falls on Tuesday, but the year is Kisidran. See, with Gimel, that's the only possibility. If Rosh Hashanah falls on Tuesday, the only possibility is that the year is Kisidran. And then if Rosh Hashanah falls on Thursday, it could be Kisidran or Shalem. And if Rosh Hashanah falls on Shabbat, it could be Chaser or Shalem. So that's the possibilities, and based on that, there is a table here which tells you then every holiday and every Rosh Chodesh what day of the year it will fall on, what day of the week it will fall on. So how do we know which year is Kisidran and which year what the day Rosh Hashanah falls on? For that, there is a different table here that goes on till basically year 6000. You could just look for which year it is. For example, if I take now the year right now is Tav Shin Pei. Right now it's Tav Shin Ein Het, right? But let's say I want to know next year. Tav Shin Ein Tet. So the mem in front of it is Miuberet. That means it's going to be 2 others. It's a leap year. And it says Bet Shin, which means the Rosh Hashanah falls on Monday, and it's Shalem. It's a year that's that both months will have 30 days. both the Marcheshvan and Kislev. So I look in the column in the second group where it's Meuberet, Bet Shin, and I know anything that I want to know. For example, if I want to know when it's going to be Purim, it's going to be Hey on Thursday. Right? I want to know, for instance, when it's going to be Shavuot, it's Aleph. It's on Sunday, etc. If you like this video, please press like.